What's the dumbest rule your school ever enforced? My school had 3 staircases along a very long corridor. We were banned from using the middle staircase because it got overcrowded. The ban was lifted once they realized it only made the other 2 staircases just as crowded. If you throw snowballs, you get a 1-day suspension. The first long weekend after a snowfall, everyone would throw snowballs to get an additional day added to the long weekend. Can't be standing around in groups more than 4. Gang mentality. My gang of 4 found that policy very convenient. They outlawed bracelets because there was an article in a magazine somewhere saying they advertised what sexual acts you were open for based on their color. Then someone tried to outlaw wristwatches for the same reason. Locked the only boys' bathroom because someone wrote on the wall in Sharpie. It wasn't even anything rude or inappropriate either. It was just the word "hi" or something like that. Didn't unlock the door until one boy wet himself and parents threatened to sue. Not really a rule, but the toilet paper holders are outside of the stalls on a wall. So you have to calculate before taking a shit how much you need and hope that it was enough. Ban all backpacks, bags on campus. Students were expected to somehow carry everything they needed in hand. This was especially challenging if you had an unideal locker placement. We suddenly one day weren't allowed to stand in circles during recess because, and I quote, we could be dealing drugs. I will add that for the years prior we had been standing in circles no problem. Next recess, we stood in a triangle, cue principal going apeshit. Next day we stood in a square, principal kept us inside for a week. And threatened us all with detentions if we did it again, etc. I believe their idea was open-ended circles so they could see what we were doing. Still stupid. Edit. Wow, this blew up. I should add this was in grade 8 in Canada. Middle school. Edit 2. After being told by many to post this on malicious compliance, I did. Then it got removed for being against the rules. RIP. I got a suspension for holding a stick. The phone call with my mom went something like this, only slightly dramatized. School, Mrs. the Keck, your son has been suspended. Mom, oh my goodness, what did he do? He was holding a stick. Did he hit someone with it? No. He was just holding it. Did he threaten to hit someone with it? No, just held it. Did he refuse to put it down when you asked? No, he was very cooperative. So. What did he do wrong? He held a stick. And I should be upset about that? Absolutely, you know we have a zero-tolerance policy. Right. Well, I'll talk with him. As you might guess, I did not get in trouble at home. No farting in class. They would say if you need to fart then go to the toilet, but then 9 times out of 10 if you asked to go to the toilet they'd say no. I remember in 5th grade we would have farting competitions to see who could fart the most during the day. We might have needed this rule. You have to wear your tie all the way home. Some sad bastard teachers would stand on the main road away from the school and try to hand out detentions in presumably their own time. In grade school, we weren't allowed to play on the playground equipment when it snowed. Eventually, we weren't allowed to play with snow or even go near it. I got in trouble for sitting in snow. This was in Minnesota where it snows half the year. Recess basically consisted of milling around the blacktop for 30 minutes. Took all the doors off the men's bathroom stalls because of vandalism for 2 months. Because some kids were vandalizing the school, everyone has to shit with no privacy. How TF does that relate? My friend is an administrator at a private school in NJ and the faculty has to sign in and out of the bathroom using Google Sheets. 9 a.m., 10 minutes, MF. When I was in junior school, UK boarding school in the 80s, we were not allowed to say okay as it was considered slang and not befitting the young ladies and gentlemen that we should aspire to be. For context, junior school covered ages 5 to 13. We also had to have a comb and a handkerchief on us at all times. On top of that, we weren't allowed to have our hands in our pockets because it looks slovenly. Playing cards at lunch was prohibited because it promoted gambling. No slow dances at the prom. We weren't allowed to wear thongs. I don't know how they caught people who did tbh. No beads. Apparently they thought beaded jewelry was gang-related. Nothing says hardened criminal like matching bead bracelets that say BFFs. Different staircases for boys and girls. Edit. Wow, this blew up. To clarify, this rule was enforced purely with the idea that good boys and girls don't talk to each other. The general air in the school was don't have anything to do with the opposite gender. I was in this school for only 2 years and coming from other good co-ed school, this really weirded me out. Also, the guys would just act creepy even for a simple "can you please move out of the way?" I believe this awkwardness could be prevented if there wasn't such an obvious separation between the genders. Edit 2, it wasn't a religious school. Just a general public school. Edit 3, no skirts. The uniform was similar to a salwar kameez. One particular professor at my university would lock the door a minute after class began. If you had to leave to go to the bathroom, you couldn't get back in. Somehow this ancient fossil is still teaching and pulling similar shit. My school made it compulsory to wear uniform in online classes. Girls weren't allowed to show their ankles. The dean had a pack of socks in her office she would give the students and make them wear. Only girls though. This was the 2000s. Dumbest rule, zero tolerance for fighting. This meant both the kid who started the fight and the kid who got beat on were both suspended. If the kid who got beat on just took it, he was just sent home for the rest of the day. If he dared to fight back, he was suspended for a week just like the kid who started the fight. Here's the truly stupid part, the school administrators couldn't explain how this led to more brutal fights. Students must keep their hair short. My friend nearly got suspended for wearing a trench coat. It was the late 90s, probably didn't help that he had long hair, was shy, and weird. My high school decided to ban women's athletic shorts one day, which was ridiculous for many reasons. The next day every girl showed up in athletic shorts and the rule was removed by second block. I got detention for pooping more than 10 minutes, but I have served stomach cramps and I asked why and they had no answer. Guys were free to wear pants in cold days but girls had to wear a skirt no matter how cold it was. They banned plain red and plain blue shirts. You could only go to the bathroom twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. Mind you, this is from 8 to 3 and you had to get a new pass every week and keep it the whole time or you couldn't use the bathroom. Edit, this was pre-K 8th grade. We actually had a dealer who would make fake passes so they had to start color coding them. They got rid of this rule a month before I graduated. Edit 2, my new high school has a just go policy and they have no issues. I'm loving it lol. Edit 3 lol, they actually encouraged drinking water, at least half your body weight crap, and would have times to drink water from the many water fountains. The hypocrisy. Elementary school principal banned talking at lunch. If you were caught talking or even signing to someone, you had to go sit by yourself on a folding chair with no table. There was once my mom came to eat lunch with my older sister and I. The principal was like, "Oh, you should go eat out in the hallway with your daughters," and she was like, "Nah, I'm gonna sit here with my daughter and her friends and talk to them and enjoy their presence." Usually if a parent came for lunch, the student could invite one friend to join, unless you had siblings. Then it was too many people, so you couldn't invite a friend. Anyway, one of my older sister's friends whispered to my mom that she was going to move so she wouldn't get in trouble for talking. This was a 9-year-old. The new principal made a morning roundup rule where anyone arriving to class after the last bell had to go to the cafeteria and listen to a lecture about not being late for class. This took about an extra 15 minutes, making the students even more late to class than they would have otherwise been. Needless to say, everyone hated it, even the teachers. That principal didn't last long. We were not allowed to have facial hair at all. Like to the point where the principal would walk around during lunch with razors and shaving cream and do stubble checks. Absolutely ridiculous, and he would send tons of us to the bathrooms to shave during lunch, no matter how small the stubble was. Pull up with no eyebrows.